Hey everybody, Cinema Sickness here again to talk to you about what I bought and what I watched today. And once again, I didn't actually head out to any stores because I came straight home to get working some more on the new shelves that I am building in my library. However, yet again, I received some great titles in the mail, so let's take a look at everything I got. The first title that I received in the mail today came from BestBuy.com, paid only $5 for this, and that was Bloodwork. A Clint Eastwood movie that I've been dying to check out because I've heard nothing but fantastic things about this movie. Thus far, every Clint Eastwood movie I've ever seen, movies he's either starred in or directed, this one being both, have always been absolutely great, so I have no doubt this will be a fantastic film. The next four titles I got all came from Mill Creek, and the first one was Beverly Hills Teens Volume 1. This is fantastic. I had pretty much all but forgotten about this show until the announcement of this release. This is a show that I did used to watch here and there when I was a kid. I didn't watch it all that much because this was a show that was more geared towards girls. So things like She-Ra, Jem and the Holograms, Beverly Hills Teens, all shows that were geared towards girls, but were still shows that guys could watch. So I did catch some episodes here and there when I was a kid. So I definitely wanted to get my hands on a copy of this, and I cannot wait to get the next volumes. The next title I got was Jason the Wheel Warriors Volume 2. Still need to get my hands on Volume 1, but regardless, getting Volume 2 is awesome. This here's a series that I actually never watched when I was a kid. In fact, it wasn't until I started collecting movies and TV shows that I even heard about this series. But from that, I actually watched a few episodes online, thought it was fantastic, a great 80s series, so I cannot wait to sit down and watch all these great episodes back to back. Next I got Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad Volume 1. Another show that I never watched when it was on TV. I was never really into the whole Power Ranger type shows when I was a kid. However, I have recently started to get into Power Rangers, and from that, I've gotten into things like Ultraman, Big Bad Beetleborgs, and Superhuman Samurai Squad. So definitely wanted to get my hands on this as I've only ever seen a few episodes of this show. So now that I have this, can't wait to sit down and watch this one as well. But then I saved the best for last. When I heard this title was being released, I was just crazy excited. This is a show I used to watch all the time when I was a kid, had all the action figures. Yes, it is simply just a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle ripoff, but I didn't care when I was a kid. I absolutely loved this. In fact, I used to make my Ninja Turtles and this series fight all the time. I had my action figures constantly battling each other, and that is Street Sharks, the complete series. There's one word to describe this, and you can say it all with me, jawsome. Very excited to get my hands on this. I cannot wait to sit down and watch this. I'm going to start watching this ASAP because I have not seen a single episode of this since I was a kid. And I do have the 3 VHS volumes that were released. I'll still be holding on to them for collecting purposes, and I never got around to rewatching those. But again, now that I have the entire series on DVD, this will be getting watched real soon. So that's it for what I bought today, so now it's what I watched. And today, once again, I can't physically show you a title that I watched because it was another title from Redbox. My wife has been renting movies from Redbox like crazy lately, and some of them I've actually wanted to see, and the one that she rented tonight was definitely a movie that I wanted to check out, and that was Melancholia. It was a movie that I actually pretty much completely forgotten about. She said the name to me. I said, I don't know what that is. She said who was in it and what it was about. It still didn't really ring a bell until I did a Google search, and then it all came back to me. I remember seeing some trailers for this, I guess about a year or so, probably over a year ago. I saw trailers for this, and when I saw the trailers, it really didn't look like a movie that I was really all that interested in seeing, but the plot did seem somewhat interesting to me, so it was definitely something that I kind of wanted to see. And all in all, I have to say mediocre. I think the reason why it's mediocre is because it's very artsy, which is fine. I can deal with an artsy film, but I think the director of this was just going for something really over the top and very, very artsy, which just kind of didn't really do it for me, and I felt some parts of the movie were much better than others. The movie starts out with about a 7-minute little, like, very artsy intro. All scenes, like, kind of upcoming scenes from the movie, but they're all done very slowly, all in slow motion, set to this really nice, like, kind of orchestra music. I'll give it this, even though the opening's very artsy, I kind of liked it, although I did think it went on for a little bit too long. because all the scenes they were showing, again, clips of things that are upcoming within the movie, they were shot really beautifully. They all look like they could be really nice, like pieces of art. They all look like something I'd want to frame. Just very, very nice looking. Again, very artsy pieces, but really, really cool looking. So I did like the intro, even though I did think it went on a little long. In fact, afterwards, my wife looked at me and said, "Well, that lasted way too long." And yeah, maybe it did. It kind of confused me as to what I was even getting myself into. I also didn't really care all that much for the intro because I thought it kind of spoiled the movie. The whole movie is all about a pre-apocalyptic, it's a pre-apocalyptic drama where the Earth is about to be hit by a rogue planet. A planet maybe, looks a little bit bigger than the moon, is about to smash right into the Earth. And the reason why I thought the beginning of the movie ruined a lot of the movie is because throughout the entire film, you're not 100% sure. They don't make it 100% positive that this planet will hit the Earth. They keep saying maybe, but we have nothing to worry about. It flew by all these other planets. The scientists say, oh, it's just going to fly by us as well. You have nothing to worry about. Some people are worried, some people are not. But they never really say it's definitely going to hit. But we already saw in the beginning that it is going to hit. One of the whole artsy beginnings and stuff is things kind of going to hell. It's all this shit kind of going down, and they even show the planet hitting the Earth. And it just kind of ruins all the suspense because you go, okay, well, I already know how this movie's gonna end up. I already know this planet will hit the Earth and destroy the Earth. I know it's coming. I already saw the beginning. That was definitely a downfall. Then we get into the movie's kind of split into three parts. We have that very beginning intro. Then we have part 1 and part 2, which is the two sisters throughout the movie. And the first sister we get to meet, it's her wedding party, and she had just gotten married. She's at the party now, but she's very depressed. She's like a manic depressive, has lots of issues. She's just not happy pretty much ever the whole time. She's basically putting on a facade and pretending to be happy throughout this whole party. And I thought that went on for way too long. That goes on for an hour, and the whole idea of it, I guess, is to kind of set things up and introduce you to characters. They kind of, let you know that this, you kind of get this hint that something is kind of going wrong. I don't think they ever let you really know that there is a planet that's hitting the Earth. I think like maybe later on this in the first hour of the movie we do kind of get to see that, but not towards the end. They kind of just are hinting at it. We're also introduced to all these characters, and they start to build up the characters and introduce us to them. We get to know these characters. The only problem with that is all but 3 of them, we never, well, I guess if you count the little kid, all but 4 of them, we really never see again. We're introduced to all these characters that just go away. The husband, he leaves. The father, the mother, get all these characters just go away. We're introduced to them. We get to know these characters, know what they're all about. The whole family's kind of wacky and crazy. And, again, we get to meet them, and then they just hit the bucket in the whole second half of the movie. We don't get to see them anymore, and we don't really care about them anymore. Yeah, we've been introduced to these, 4 other characters, and we get to know them. Again, not letting a little kid even really count on that much, because he's just a little kid throughout the movie. He doesn't really play a huge part. So it felt like, why am I watching an hour's worth of this party, really getting to know this one sister who's manic depressive, and getting to know these other characters, and then they all just go away? Couldn't we have done that maybe in a half hour or something like that? It just seemed to go on way too long. And once they get into the second half of the movie, it just seemed kind of like pointless. You're just like, why did I watch all that? What did I need to see all that for? I didn't. They could have explained that so much quicker and gotten into the second half of the movie, which is more about the other sister, which I liked the second half of the movie. The second half of the movie I thought was great. This is when things start going bad. This is when we start to really learn that this planet is going to hit the Earth. The one sister's freaking out. She's constantly going on the internet looking up, all these doomsday prophecies about this planet hitting. It seems like a lot of scientists are saying that it's not going to hit. Her husband's saying, no, it's not going to hit. You don't have anything to worry about. But she's kind of freaking out nevertheless. And we end up, again, it would build up some suspense if we didn't quite know what was going to happen. Is the planet going to hit? Is it not? What's going to happen? It would really build up suspense. But again, the entire time, because you saw it in the very beginning of the first that little 6-minute intro, you know what's going to happen. Yeah, it is going to hit the Earth. You know what's coming. Had they built up the suspense more and let you kind of, go, ooh, is it going to hit? Is it not? What's going to happen? that would have been great, but they didn't do that, and that, well, they did, but you knew it was going to happen. It felt like they, had they not shown that little beginning, they would have built suspense up, because they're doing that. They're making you not know what's going to happen until the very end when you find out that it is going to happen. So they're building up all this what would be suspense, but again, since we saw it in the very beginning, and we know that the planet is going to hit, there is no suspense that, there's no suspense to be built up. It was already ruined. I love the scene where the kid builds this device where it's basically just like a wire on a stick, and you hold the stick up to your chest and point it out with the circle. You take the wire and you make it go around the planet, and you can see the planet's going further away, because if the circle is around the planet, and then all of a sudden you look again and the planet's much smaller within the circle, well, the planet's getting farther and farther away. You have nothing to worry about. And there's this great scene where she's freaking out. She looks, okay, it's going away. Everything seems fine. Her husband all of a sudden kind of gets this really, well, she falls asleep kind of. The husband gets this panic look on his face. He runs away. She wakes up. She's like, she doesn't know where her husband is. She's looking around, can't find him. She takes a stick and she looks, and holy shit, the planet's a lot closer now. She knows this isn't good. She finds the husband. He went off and killed himself, which is just crazy. That was a great scene as well. So I really liked the second half of the movie. Had the movie really just been maybe an hour and a half long movie, just get rid of the whole artsy beginning, because again, the whole artsy beginning, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with an artsy beginning, fine, but it ruined all the suspense and all the great is the planet going to hit suspense. They got rid of all that because you saw that beginning. So had they gotten rid of the beginning, had they taken that hour-long intro where we're more introduced to the first sister, the manic depressive sister, had they taken that and just cut it down maybe into half hour just to kind of get to know the main characters, and then sure, we can meet some other characters and some kooky characters here and there. That's fine. I can deal with that. But had they cut that down to about a half hour and then made the last hour, where the planet's going to hit, had that been the movie, just a great hour and a half long movie, probably been really good. So if they would just cut the hell of this movie and edit this movie, they could actually probably have a really good film. But unfortunately, I just thought the movie was just okay. I wasn't thrilled with it. It was just all right. It's definitely an artsy, apocalyptic drama, and that sounds interesting, and it really could have been interesting. But unfortunately, like I said, because they ruined all the suspense in the first 6-7 minute intro, and then they had way too long of getting to know the characters. It's those two parts right there that really ruined the movie for me. Because like I said, the last hour of the film I thought was great. That's when I really started to get into the movie. I got really into it. Whereas the first hour, I was playing on my phone a lot. I was getting bored. I mean, there were some there's some kind of funny moments and some quirky moments in the game. Because like I said, the family is kind of quirky and crazy. So there were some definitely enjoyable moments in the beginning of the film, but a lot of it just seemed like it was drugged out. It was just dragged out way too long, just kind of went way too slow, and just it really didn't do it for me. And I just kind of got bored with the first hour of the film. And once the first hour was over and they went into the part two of the film, the second half of the film, I was like, oh man, I really got to sit through another hour of this. But luckily, the last hour was a lot more exciting, was a lot more fun. I really did enjoy the last hour of the film. So, like I said, I just wasn't a huge fan because I felt that probably about at least, big 45 minutes to an hour's worth of that film was just completely pointless. But there was, at least an hour and a half of it that I liked. So had they cut it down to an hour and a half movie, I probably would be praising it and loving it and actually saying it's a great film. But I just felt it was a little bit too long. But all in all, I would say it was mediocre. I'm not trying to absolutely bash the film or say it was horrible, because it wasn't. It wasn't absolutely horrible. It was okay, but I would use the word mediocre to describe it. I wouldn't say it was anything amazing. Just mediocre. Will I even be picking it up? Maybe. The more I think about the movie and the last hour of the movie, it makes me kind of want to give it a second go. Maybe like in a year from now, watch it again. So maybe if I come across it for cheap, like if I come across it for like $3 at a pawn shop or flea market or yard sale or something like that, maybe I'll pick it up again just to kind of give it another go and just check it out again, because it wasn't horrible. But I wouldn't say try to keep it $5 or under. Don't pay an arm and a leg for this title. It was just mediocre. I don't know really what else to say about this film. It just could have been so much better. I love the story. I like the idea. It had a really good premise. You know, it just seemed like a great plot for a movie, and then it just got drug out some spots way too long, and it just kind of it just bored me in some spots. And also, why would you ruin all the suspense within the first 6 minutes of the film? Why the hell would you do that? It pissed me off, because like I said, the last hour of the movie was great, and it would have built up so much suspense and had you really wanting to know what was going to happen. And when she saw that planet getting closer, you would have gone, oh shit, you know, but instead you're going, okay, well, I already knew that was going to happen. That's not all that crazy. Just kind of ruined the ending of the film. So, yeah, definitely not a perfect film. Mediocre. If you've been thinking about checking it out, yeah, if you really want to see it, I would say go ahead, check it out. It's worth a watch, at least. Worth a rent. Go to Redbox, get it for $1. You know, at least give it a watch. Maybe you'll like it more than I did, but don't be expecting anything great. Expect some long, drawn-out parts. Maybe you expect to be bored a little bit here and there, but at least you'll get a really good last hour of a movie anyway. But yeah, so like I said, if you've been thinking about checking it out, sure, give it a go. It wasn't horrible. It was just mediocre, so it will entertain you in some spots. But if this isn't like your type of movie, if you really want nothing to do with this film, if you watch a trailer and think this isn't my type of thing, well, then probably just stay away, because you're probably not going to like it all that much. So yeah, I would just say Melancholia was mediocre. So that's it for what I bought when I watched today. Definitely excited about the titles I got from BestBuy.com and from Mill Creek. Very happy about checking all those out, especially Street Sharks. Can't wait to sit down and check that out. Also watching Melancholia, like I said, mediocre. That's the best way to describe this film. A film that could have been much, much better had they cut it down to about an hour and a half, taken some of the long, drawn-out, boring parts, got rid of that whole artsy intro that ruins all the suspense, taken the first hour of the film, chopped it down so it wasn't drawn out so much, and then left you with that really good last hour. It probably would have been a much better film, but it is what it is. So, as I said, if you've been thinking about checking it out, if it looks like something you want to see, sure, give it a rent for $1. It's worth checking out for at least $1. But if you're going to pick it up, try to pay something good for it. Try to get a good deal on it, because it's really not worth anything crazy. It's worth about $5 in my mind. That's what I would say. But otherwise, if it looks like something you don't want to see, then yeah, stay away. I'm not going to tell everybody to go out and see this movie. It's nothing you need to see. But yeah, just mediocre. So that's it. Thanks for watching. I'm going to build some more shelves. See ya.